Blair James.
Simon Mclean.
Great to have you along. You weren't at the football today?
No.
Are you injured just now?
No, I don't come in on Monday.
Is it Mondays?
It's a Friday. I come.
Fridays only?
Aye, Fridays only. So that's why I'm not here. That's my excuse anyway.
Blair, how long have you been playing at walking football?
My diary says the 12th of May 2016.
You're like me now without the diary.
Right.
Nothing makes any sense.
Oh, got to keep the diary going.
Yep. 2016, that's... Well, it's nearly 6 years with it, obviously the lockdown in between there. And how did you get involved? How did you find out about it?
Well, I just finished recovering from my hip operation.
Right.
And I was wondering, I went into internet and found about walking football.
Right.
And then
So you went looking for it?
Yeah.
Okay. How had you heard about walking football, that it was a thing?
Well, I had heard when I finished, I'd been playing for about 22 years over at Petershill with an over 50s. 1993 I started playing there. And some of the guys there said I had to give up because it was like long John Silver, one leg longer than that.
Yeah. So have you had one hip done?
Just my right hip. Yeah.
Okay, because very often they both get done, don't they?
No,
within a period of time.
It was an option. Your left hip needs to be done sometime, but we'll leave it in the meantime.
Right.
And that was in 2017.
Doing all right so far.
But I had to follow that up with a pacemaker because I had a very low pulse rate, which was historical. That was accepted, but then it was going down to like 35, 40. It was beginning to stumble a wee bit. And it's a regular heartbeat.
Right. So you finished with the over 35s, over 50s?
Over 50s, yeah. It was 1993. Tony Roper, Tony Roper?
I do, yes.
I think Tony had an article in the Evening Times about what the City Council does for all these women. I can't have something for men over 50. So they said, okay, we'll give you a challenge, we'll give you a coach, you publicise it. So I saw this advert.
Was it well attended? Was it?
At the beginning, there was about 4 aside. Played over at Helendale. Glasgow Transport's old pitch over there. And from that, it was just word of mouth. And we finished up playing at Petershill, Peasy's ground, up till about 2000 and what did I say, 16. Yeah. Because
is it still going?
I don't think so. We used to play 3/4 of the pitch, and it was like World Cup final every Friday night. It was supposed to be looking after the care of the over 50s, but no.
Well, we often say here that the biggest challenge we've got initially is getting people to take us seriously about walking football. But once they come and play a few games, the problem is getting them to take it less seriously. It's not the World Cup final. No. But even today out there, a bounce game at Nethercraig, if you'd been here, you see that some folk just get carried away with it. That's football.
Yeah, that's football. Typical lots of fights. Well, not lots of fights, but there's one or two fights.
We don't fight anymore. Just
shouting each other.
Nobody can catch him to get a decent fight. So we've spoke here a few times at Talking Walking Football about that gap between the 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds and the walking football. Because a lot of people fall into the trap of thinking I'm still too fit for walking football, which baffles me because by the time they're not fit, it's too late. You know what I mean? I like to think that fitness is a thing that you need to keep on top of so that it's there when you need it. So are you aware of anything in that gap there for 40, 45, 50-year-olds that's still going?
A gap, that something should be put for them.
Yeah. Because we're thinking that walking football does it, but it's 50 plus for competitive. But you can still come along here when you're 18. You can still come along here at any age. So it's something we need to tweak in our marketing.
If guys come along in the 18s, then not put the guys at 14, 50 off because they're bringing in a young...
Well, the rules are the rules. But and you know as well as I do now that we've got tiers of walking football. So there's something there for everyone, I think, or we should make it that way.
That's what happened with Petershill. It was for, that start for over 50s, but then you're getting folk falling off, and to keep it going,
they brought their kids along.
You had to get 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds in, and they're obviously a better standard of fitness. And that. And it wasn't just quite the same as what it started out for.
So we need those age groupings to keep it sensible. I mean, we had it today. We could only play one game today for the numbers we had. So you get somebody of 80 playing alongside somebody of 50. So everybody has to tober down a wee bit to bring it down to an acceptable level that everybody can enjoy, because that's the big idea.
know what you say, it's like, I think my parents tampered with my birth certificate. I'm really 48, but they changed it.
Yeah.
But
you still look 48. What age are you, Blair?
I'm 78.
78. So it's just one digit.
Just one digit.
It's amazing the difference that can make. So you must be our second oldest walking footballer then after that.
Yeah. In May I'll be 79.
And 79 in May.
No, sorry, June.
Okay, I can see what happens when you get to that age. You're determined to change this birth certificate, aren't you?
Oh, aye.
And the big news is that you've asked me if you can play competitive again.
Yeah.
Will this be the first since whenever?
No, before it was getting too competitive, I think surely over 70s will be not as aggressive as over 50s.
We'll see. We had one day last year for over 70s and it was in the cages, I call them, in the enclosed parks.
Yeah.
And that's got its own problems because it's a wee bit more physical, but I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think you'll enjoy it. Yeah. And there's always the over 80s to look forward to next year. Although there's only 2 of you in the team so far. I could get in the team if I changed my birth certificate. Nobody would question that at all. At the tournament we're at on Wednesday, it's the over 65 Champions League, and they've asked that everybody bring ID to prove that they're over 65. I've told our team just to make sure they've got their faces with them, because that should do the trick, really. So Blair, what did you think when you thought about walking football? What age would you have been then? You'd be in your late 70s when you saw that. Mid-70s?
74, 73, 74.
And did you take to it right away?
Right, yeah, it was very good because it was low key. It was what I expected.
Yes.
Because
was that Bellahouston?
Bellahouston, because we're all the same age range.
Yeah.
And there didn't seem to be a bit disparity. Lots of guys who
running past you.
And, takes it away.
So what's your football background then, going back?
Football background as well. Was brought up in Ibrox, Elizabeth Street, and went to Bellahouston.
Elizabeth Street?
Aye. I went to Bellahouston Academy.
Yeah.
So my football was like all the boys at that time, out in the playground with a wee tennis ball.
What school did you go to?
Went to Bellahouston Academy first of all.
Okay.
And then later on to Allen Glen's, a rugby playing school.
Of course.
So my football was mainly in the school playground, eventually in the local boys brigade company.
So the boys brigade, what was your number? What was your
company number?
BB company?
163.
I was a 108, Partick.
Good.
But I only went to play football. Remember they had to add up the ages to get to the team. I can't remember what it was. 170 something.
165, I think.
Yeah.
So you had 12-year-olds playing with 16 and 17.
It's a bit like walking football, really. I think about it. Now we could only get 2 players in the team. Certainly in your team. You and I would take up, and then we could have a 12-year-old.
But certainly playing in the cinder, wasn't even as good as Blaze. It was, you see all the broken bottles glistening at the surface. And used to have like adult teams playing there, and all the folks from the tenements from round about would come and watch the games. But the 2 teams I can remember were Avon Villa and Pollok Hawthorne.
Right.
And they were men who worked in the docks and all that, monsters, kicking up at one another.
And they were in the BB team?
No, they were in secondary juvenile, I think.
Again, like the walking football?
I think they were secondary juvenile. And then you'd have all these folk round these football pitches, but someone go around with a cap, money for both teams, and I'm sure the guy ran off with it.
Off skate.
But we eventually got to playing sometimes in Bellahouston Park, because there was pitches there, and they were grass pitches.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
That was a real thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I played at Scotstoun with the school, and it was all grass parks, but they had a show park that you seldom got on. We got to a semi-final once and got to play on the show park. But it was grass, and that was a real change, because we would go to St Pat's and all that, and it was Blaze.
Yeah.
Before that, when I was in primary, so we're talking in the 60s, it was black ash, I remember, up at Springburn.
Yeah.
In the big bladder. And that wasn't football, really. That was...
And the boots that we had at that time were leather, actual leather, with leather studs. And you finish off on them with these Indian fakers, or your soles of your foot, with all these nails that came through. You punctured your foot. It was all that.
What position did you play?
I played laterally centre half because I was the biggest. I was hopeless at centre half, but I was usually a wing half, right and left half.
explain the difference from a wing half then, because they don't have wing halves anymore.
Yeah, no, wing half. And the number 4 generally was the attacking wing half, and your pal, who was very good with his left foot, 6 would be the defender.
Right, he would sit in.
Yeah.
He would sit in with the centre half.
Yeah, and he possibly, because he was left-footed, be much more better equipped to be
on that side of the defence.
Aye.
So what would the formation be then?
Well, the old 2-3-5.
2-3-5.
Two full-backs.
The three you're talking about, the 2 half-backs and the centre half.
You have the outside right, the outside left, the inside right.
So you've got 2 and 3 are your 2 full-backs, yeah? And that's your defence, basically.
Defence, yeah.
And in front of them you've got your 3 centre halves, for want of a better, your 2 fly halves and your centre half. No, centre half.
Wing halves.
Wing halves.
Fly halves.
So you're 4, 5, 6?
No, generally it was 2, 3, 5, because the inside forwards, one would maybe drop back to help in defence.
Okay. So you're 7 and 11, your 2 wingers.
Aye, yeah.
And you're 8, 9 and 10.
Yeah, you're 8 and 10 and you're 9, the centre forward.
Okay, and no subs.
No subs.
And the numbers were real numbers. Remember that when teams went 1 to 11? They didn't need any more than that. I remember Bobby Murdoch of Celtic and Lisbon Lion telling me that if you played, you get £2.50. Right. This is professional, obviously. Right. And if you didn't play, you get 10 bob. And with no subs, you had to be in that starting 11.
Oh, right.
So there was no such thing as injuries, really. You know, you were playing. You get your mortgage paid, your rent paid. So
I was going to say that the highlight from a boys' brigade football was that we became the Glasgow Battalion champions. We played over at Greenfield, over at Church Juniors pitch.
Brilliant.
We won that. And the skipper, the captain of the company, worked in the corporation, as a mechanic. And somehow or another, he got an open deck bus for us. Come down through Pacey Road Toll, all the way down Pacey Road West up to Gower Street.
Fantastic.
Great, yeah.
Was the people out? Your parents anyway, and your pals?
No, it's just folks see us coming in this.
What an experience, brilliant. I'll tell you what, I'll make this commitment on camera here. See if you win the over 70s league, we'll do something similar. We'll get an open top, we'll get somebody with a sunroof, right? Chris's car with the sunroof open, and you can stick your head in the roof for that. Cammy, he's got the soft top, hasn't he?
He was coming out.
We'll fix something up. We'll take you around Pollok with your trophy.
Something to look forward to.
You got to win it first.
Going to Europe after that.
So what did you do for a living, Blair?
I left school at 18 and I worked until I was 60 in the civil service.
Right.
Man and boy.
Right. So you didn't do very much. That's the answer to that question.
So at 18, when I left school, I'd sat the civil service exam and I got posted as a clerical officer.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly, there was no posts in Scotland, so I could either go to London, Leeds, Manchester, Newcastle. So I chose to go to Newcastle because it's nearest to Scotland.
So that's why the Newcastle trip today.
So I was there for about 18 months. I worked in the Ministry of Pensions and National Insurance.
In Newcastle?
In overseas group, Long Benton.
I love Newcastle. In fact, I've only got my Newcastle snood on today.
Yeah.
I think I might have actually, yes. That's my English team. You know, when I was a boy anyway, everybody had an English team as well.
Yeah.
Geordieland. No accent, how did you not pick up that Geordie accent?
Why?
Did you get married down there or were you already married?
No, I got married in 1965 in Bushmills, County Antrim.
Right.
1965.
Is that where your wife's from?
She's from there.
What's her name?
Ada.
So you got married over there?
Yes. Whiskey, Bushmills whiskey.
Of course,
I had to take it.
Oh, of course, it's your duty. Just to be sociable, of course, yeah. So you retired when you were 60?
Yeah.
Was that you done with the working?
Well, what happened, the civil service rules were that you had to retire at 60, but the last year before that was you can change your mind and stay on as long as you want. I've done 42 years.
Had enough.
I've got my pension at 48 years. I'm out a year.
Yeah. Good. Did you do anything after that? Did you do any work-wise?
I've been working part-time since 2003 as a football museum.
Right, at Hampden.
Yeah, okay. Part-time basis.
So that brings us right back to football again. and the strip that you're wearing, which is not a Newcastle strip, obviously, Queen's Park. So has there been a lifelong connection with Queen's Park?
No, not really. No, it started off, the connection was with Pollok.
Right.
My dad came from Calder Street in Govan Hill.
Yes, not well.
My gran called it Cross Hill. She was a bit snobbish.
Okay.
So he was a keen for Lanark supporter, so we went there until down the tubes in 1967.
Right, so you could switch over.
Well, we were staying round about here. By that time we moved from Ibrox to Moss Heights, not far from here. So our local team was Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
So we went there, and as we were sitting in the stand, we thought, oh, we'll go and sit in the stand. I remember it was against Kilmarnock, beginning of the season. Suddenly felt a warm feeling behind me, and it was someone trying to piss into the can.
Right.
You know? So that decided that, no, we're not coming back here. We'll go to Caskin and support us, which we did.
Okay.
So then when you're doing the choose, saying, what do we do now? Do we go and follow Pollok Juniors, or what do we do? So my dad said, let's just go over the hill and we'll go to Queen's.
Okay, so you're going with your dad every week to the game at that time?
Yes, yeah.
So you went to Hampden?
Yeah.
Yep.
So my 3 sons have all got Queen's Park connections. 2 of my grandsons have got Queen's Park connections. 2 of my sons were ball boys.
Connections? Just
ball boys.
You're right, yeah.
Ball boys. 2 grandsons were ball boys. Callum, one of my grandsons, he scored a goal at Hampden in the Schools Cup final.
Right.
Before that, his dad scored a goal at Hampden in the Schools Cup final.
So it's a Hampden connection as much as anything.
Yeah, and I finished up being a car park attendant outside. Any time they were in duty.
I wish I'd known you then.
For internationals or cup finals or semi-finals, I was in duty. Queen's Park were collecting the money for the parking at that stage. So
I've got a flat in Shawlands, Blair, and that forms part of the Queen's Park Hampden car park 3 mile away on a gate match day. It's a nightmare. A flat in Cinco Drive, it's a nightmare.
So in 2003, I was actually in the stadium, I can't remember what for, and I met Andy Mclean, who was involved with Queen's Park. And I jokingly said to him, are you looking for any more ball boys? And he says, no, he says, but the museum's looking for some part-time staff. Would you like to do that? So,
This is the Scottish Football Museum.
Yeah. And the other thing was I got involved in doing the book.
Right.
That's because Junior Omond, who was a famous Queen's Park, Willie Junior Omond.
Okay. Omond, O-M-A-N-D.
Yeah. He was always coming into the shop. We had a shop at that time in the museum with all kinds of books, images of like Kilmarnock,
kind of memorabilia.
You know, but there wasn't one for Queen's Park. And he kept berating the staff. Someone here should make a book on Queen's Park, you know, because of the history of the club, etc.
Of course.
And then, of course, folk said, you should do it. You're a Queen's Park supporter.
Mm-hmm. And a kind of curator as well at the museum.
Yeah. So I finished up, I had access to the Queen's Park collection at Hampden Park, which is vast.
Right.
Over the, you know, they've got
of photographs and trophies and you name it.
You name it, you know. So,
tickets and all that kind of stuff.
So I spent about 3 years, I mean, never done anything like that before, compiling this book.
Right. Can I see it?
That's it there.
This is it.
And that is Junior Omond.
Oh, right. Did you pick the cover?
Yes.
I take it he's the guy in the Queen's Park strip.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the goalkeeper is Jockey Robertson of Kilmarnock, who's about 5'2".
Yeah, I was talking about this. Next door on a Monday we've got a session for Sporting Memories Scotland, and it invariably ends up football because they're all footballers that are in there, as you can imagine. And we were talking about goalkeepers last week, favourite goalkeepers. And I said that I remember when goalkeepers didn't wear gloves.
Oh, right.
And I thought I'd maybe dreamt that, because it seems unreal now that a keeper wouldn't wear gloves, but there's the very proof over there.
Jockey,
yeah, and you could actually catch the ball without the giant gloves. The gloves I remember from those days was Sepp Meyer, do you remember him, of West Germany? Yeah. And he had big giant gloves.
Right.
Yeah.
I like the big foam ones.
Brilliant. So the book would cover another 3 or 4 sessions, Blair. You took you 3 years to compile it. Who published it?
Originally it was Tempest Publishing, but they've taken over by the History Place.
Okay. So you can still find it on Amazon and things like that?
Yeah.
You don't need to come to your museum and buy it?
No. I'll go online, we'll get it cheaper probably.
I think you're the first person I've ever met that I can say, I met a guy today who's in a museum.
And they poke me with a stick now and again, and I do move. You know.
You still go to the games?
Yeah.
You follow them?
We're over at Fidel. I'm home and away.
Right. I've taken you all over Scotland lately.
We've been to places like in the cup, like Huntly, which I would never probably have gone to when we're drawn against Huntly away.
Yep.
Regularly going to Peterhead, Peterheath, and Elgin, long trips like that.
Yep.
The supporters bus would stop at Stonehaven, get a lunch.
And just turned professional now as well.
Yeah.
First time.
Yeah.
In 150 years.
Yeah. It's 150 years. Yeah.
That's 2 or 3 years ago that happened. How's that working out?
Well, I think we've got a benefactor. If that benefactor disappears or doesn't have any more cash, it's going to be difficult.
Who's your benefactor?
Don't quote me, but I think it's Lord Hockey.
Ah, right,
okay. Who's a local boy, maybe.
Yes.
So, I think that's
okay. But doing well in the league?
Well, we were doing great at the beginning of the season, up at the top, but drawn 15 times this season.
Goodness.
So we lost a lot of points. Sitting fourth, maybe in the playoffs.
But that's Division 1?
Aye.
Which would be the old third division.
Aye, we're over at...
in old money.
We're over at Fidel, of course, over one of your favourite grounds. This is like a mud heap now.
It is, it's terrible, isn't it?
2 teams playing on it.
It's shocking. And they've been doing that for years. They had the rugby on it.
As well. It's a shame.
They've had all sorts of stuff on it.
It's
ruined it.
Mental.
How did you get on it for him?
We won something with a great victory against Pollok, 6-0 a few weeks ago. That was good. Yeah.
Good.
So we go there.
That's brilliant, Blair. Thanks for coming in. We could talk all day about Third Lanark and all the rest of it, but the memory session next door is more specifically about the history of Scottish football. It's sporting memories, and it's there for everyone to come along. So the walking football, and something I wanted to clarify about your hip operation, because I suspect that there's quite a few of the lads playing walking football who get niggles and pains and they're never sure how to diagnose it. In fact, I know a few guys that spend fortunes going to physios. And whether that does them any good, ultimately, I don't know. How would you describe the problems you had with your hip? How did it present itself?
Well, as I say, I was fortunate I didn't have any pain. It was just I was walking like...
You knew there was something not right?
Well, I had been diagnosed with arthritis.
In your hip?
Aye.
And knees?
Not my knees.
Because you're holding your knee in.
No. I diagnosed with arthritis in both hips. In fact, I thought my left hip was going to be replaced until I saw it that the ball and socket were completely worn away in the right.
What was the symptoms of the arthritis then? Stiffness?
Just nagging pain, a sort of toothache sort of pain.
Okay.
Sometimes a wee bit of sciatica.
Just a bit uncomfortable.
Aye.
And mobility problems?
As I say, I was walking along like a drunk man because I had one leg.
Well, we got upstairs, downstairs, things like that?
Aye.
All of that?
Yeah.
Driving?
No, driving was okay.
Okay. So you went and they said it's arthritis?
Yeah.
And what revealed the damage to the hip?
I went each year, I had an annual sort of
check
test,
up, MOT?
My GM, for PSA and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And it got to a stage, he said, no, you need to go and get that seen too,
Right.
Can't let it progress. Particularly when the X-ray showed the ball and socket.
You could see it was all worn away.
Yeah, so I had to get that.
That's all that. Centre backing.
No, I couldn't head for peanuts.
So the operation, straightforward?
Yeah, straightforward.
In and out in one day?
Oh, no, I was in for 2 days.
Right, milking it then? The food was all right then?
2 nights and out in the third day.
Okay, and a regime of physio and stuff thereafter?
Yeah. And the surgeon had said, look, I said about getting back to the exercise, and I said, you've got to do that, get back as soon as you can.
Well, I know for a fact that there's guys here playing who have had hip operations, and you wouldn't know.
No.
Same with knee operations very often. Now, more so, it's more successful now. There was somebody last week who I was asking to play in the 60s, and he played in the 50s last year, but he's had a hip operation, I didn't know, and he said, I'll not bother with the competitive stuff, just in case. I'd rather just keep what I've got now. He's a cracking player as well. So it just shows you it's there. It's there for us.
Because, part of my background too was I had ran in 6 marathons, so between pounding the pavements there, pounding the artificial surfaces for 20 years at Petershill, it all added up.
Yeah. So you're a bit of a runner as well back in the day?
I ran under a false name, a London Marathon, to get a place. was very, very difficult to get a place.
Right, so you had to buy a place off someone, did you?
All the pals put in, you know.
Right, a blanket entry.
I wasn't.
Who were you?
I was called.
I hope I don't get you into trouble here. I hope we don't have the London Marathon police coming to your door.
That's Davy Whitefield.
Oh, did you win?
But I think, you know, that was because of the hip went, because of all the background to doing all these good exercises for you, but there's a downside of it. The exercise can catch up with you.
Yeah.
We just wear and tear it was.
Yeah. And I've heard people recently walking football, because we're back indoors some of the time now, they're finding it different on the gym surface as opposed to the 4G.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of managing these things.
Yeah.
But you're only playing once a week, that's why you're managing it. Or are you not allowed out? Is that the truth of the matter?
I'm not allowed out. I'm allowed out.
So the 163 Boys Brigade, they won the trophy.
Yeah, won the Glasgow Battalion competition.
Glasgow Battalion trophy. And is that what prompted the invite from Third Lanark then?
Well, I decided that I would take the bull by the horns and write to them myself, saying I was a forward-looking guy.
You were captain of the team?
Yeah.
The 163?
Could I come along? I knew that they had a coaching school for 14 to 16-year-olds. Could I come along?
Okay.
And lo and behold, I got a letter back from the manager, Bob Shankly, who's Bill Shankly's brother, to go along to the coaching session after the Glasgow Fair.
So the letter there, Blair?
There's a letter there.
Wow. And what's this beside it?
That's my season ticket for season 1960-61. When that season Thirds came third in the league and scored 100 goals.
Right.
And the very last game of the season, they had to score 6 goals to get to 100. And they beat him 6-1.
So, you were there?
I was there.
And what, is this the photo of you getting the trophy?
Yeah, that was...
with the boys?
Yes.
Is that in the BB Hall?
Yes, that's in the church hall.
Right.
And you can see there's a famous entertainer there to be made later, Chris McClure.
Yeah.
A very athletic goalkeeper, fantastic.
A great character, wasn't he? Really nice guy. Yeah.
Really good guy. So that's at Stephen Memorial Church, just backing on to the plots plantation.
The worst thing in the BB was you had to go to the Sunday school on a Sunday, or you couldn't get in the team.
Right. You had to go in the morning at 10 o'clock. Never did it.
Just to get a game of football. Brilliant, Blair, thanks very much. So, Mr. Shankly, did you ever meet his brother?
No, I never met him.
No,
unfortunately no.
I didn't know his brother was involved in football as well. Did he run the Third Lanark team?
Bob did.
Bob did,
yeah. Then he went to Dundee. When Dundee went on to more success, didn't they?
Dundee were very successful in those days, yeah.
So, I also missed out our career all day talking about it. Tony Roper got us all going this over 50s at Helen Vale, eventually over at Beezy's ground at Petershill. But we got involved in going to the Umbro Veterans competition in New York University. And the Glasgow City Council gave us a grant, and we managed to get a vehicle to take us all down, and we played teams from all over England, but teams from America.
Right.
Apparently the Umbro Veterans Tournament had been on the go for about 20 years. It was just by chance we found out about it. So.
Right. Down in York?
Down in York, and we were in halls of residence over the weekend.
Right, so just a carry on.
So that was great fun. That was over 50s, so that was great.
How did you travel down? Did you all go in to get a bus?
We had a minibus, that was provided for us.
But no open top bus when you came back for that? No?
We didn't win any games at all.
No. These trips are famous. I've run so many of these trips, and the police and all the rest of it, and on the way down everybody's on it, they want to play. I'm in the team, big man, I'm in the team. And come the day of the game, they're all hungover and dying, had 2 hours sleep or whatever. Can I go on the bench? All of a sudden you've got a bench of 15. Sounds like that was much the same. Thanks, Blair.